Okay, class, so for the last couple of days we've been talking about the POW C-SPACE strategy in our writing. And what this strategy does is it really helps us to organize our thoughts and make our writing a whole lot better and more detailed. So what we've discussed is the mnemonic, and you have your charts with you. P standing for picking your main idea, O for organizing your thoughts, and W for writing and saying more. And inside of the O, we have our C space, which shows us the character, setting, purpose, action, conclusion, and emotions of the characters that you're going to write about. And we talked more about this when we were going through our story that we read in class, Hatchet. And we discussed how Brian was the main character, and he was in the wilderness for the setting after the plane crash. So we've picked out all of the parts of another person's story. And what we're going to do today is we're going to brainstorm our own ideas using this and come up with our own little story that we're going to write together as a group. So let's start with our P for POW. Let's pick our main idea. Does anyone have any ideas as to what our main idea could be? Carrie-Ann?
The end of the school year.
Okay, that's really good. I like that. Our main idea can be the end of the school year. Now let's think a little bit more into detail. What happens at the end of the school year?
Our 5th grade graduation.
Okay, so our main idea can be our 5th grade graduation that we're all so excited about. Now let's go into organizing our thoughts. And in our organizing, we have our C space. So the first letter, C, stands for characters. Who do we want our characters in this story about graduation to be? Carrie-Ann?
Stacy and Marianne.
Stacy and Mary Ann. Those will be the two graduating girls. Alright, so we have some of our characters. I like that we picked our two main characters. Now let's go into our setting. So the setting is going to tell us when and where our main idea and our characters and the action going on takes place. So we're talking about graduation. When does that take place?
At the end of the year.
Okay, so the end of the year. And it'll be in the summer or more like the spring when you're going through all of your classes. So we'll make a little note. Spring, summer. Okay, now we talked about when this is going to take place. Where is it going to take place?
At school.
At school, yeah. Now let's think a little bit further into that. I know most of my work happens at school, but I need to do other things to make sure I get all my schoolwork done as well. So where's another setting that this could take place? Maybe when I send you home with some homework.
At home.
At home, yeah. And at home. So we have our two main characters, Stacy and Marianne. Our main idea is graduating, and then our setting is the end of the year, at school, and at home. Getting all of that work done. Okay, so now let's move on to our purpose. What is the purpose?
To graduate from 5th grade.
To graduate from 5th grade, right. Graduate from 5th grade. Good. Now, do we have any other, if that's our main goal, what do the characters have to do to graduate from 5th grade?
You have to get good grades.
Good grades.
You have to do all your schoolwork.
All the schoolwork. Anything else? Think about, you have to get good grades, and that's the academic side of it, but what else do you have to do?
You have to be on your best behavior.
You have to be on your best behavior. Good. I like that idea. Wow, this is all coming together. I like how we've picked out our characters, our setting, and our purpose already. Now let's look at our mnemonic. What is the next letter in C-SPACE?
It's A for action.
Okay, and what does action mean?
It's what someone has to do to reach their goal.
Okay, so our goal is to graduate. That's our purpose. The two main characters are trying to graduate, and we came up with what that all entailed. Now, what is our action? What actions do we have to take in order to graduate?
You need to study.
We need to study.
Do all your homework.
All homework done. Yep. Now, let's think about this. If I was graduating and I was studying and I was doing all of my homework, what other things would I have to do in order to graduate on time? Let's think more about this aspect of being on our best behavior in our purpose section.
Listen to your teacher.
Listen to your teacher, yeah.
And be on time for school.
Good. Be on time. That was a good idea. All right. So now we have most of the things that we need to do in order to achieve our goal. So what is our next letter in C-SPACE?
C for conclusion.
Conclusion. And what does conclusion mean?
It's the result of, like, the end result.
Good. Exactly. Our end result. So our characters, Stacy and Marianne, are at the end of the school year in spring and summer at their school and at home trying to graduate by getting good grades, doing all of their schoolwork, and being on their best behavior. And that entails studying, getting all of their homework done, listening to the teacher, and being on time to school. So what would all of this lead to?
Getting to graduate.
Graduating. Good. So that's our conclusion that our characters are going to reach. Graduation. Now, with graduation, you have to think about how these characters must be feeling. So, our E stands for emotion, and this is all their thoughts and feelings towards everything that's happening in the book. So what are some emotions that are going to go along with Stacy and Marianne graduating?
Being excited.
Excited. Anything else?
Happy.
Happy. What else? They're graduating from 5th grade, a big deal.
I think they might be nervous to start middle school.
Nervous to start middle school, that's right. Now, think back to our actions. They're going to be studying and getting all of their homework done. Are there any other emotions you can think of?
They might be tired from all the studying.
Right, they might be tired. That was good. I'm glad we got to go back and look at that and think about that emotion we might have missed. So now we have all of our C-SPACE done. I think this is going to make a very good story, but let's go back and review all of the parts. Now our characters, we have Stacy and Marianne. That's good. But do you think there might be someone else we can add to the story since they're going to be at school all the time?
A teacher.
A teacher. And that's very good. Good idea. Now, what do we want to name this teacher?
Miss Maria.
Miss Maria. That's nice. And this teacher will be kind of a supporting character, helping them to reach all of their goals and get to their end conclusion of graduation. Now, I think we have, do you see anything else that's missing, or does everyone think that we've really gotten a pretty good grasp of our C-SPACE?
I think it looks good.
Me too. I think we did a great job. So now let's take all of these. This is our O for organizing our thoughts. And now let's move on to our W in POW, which is writing and saying more.